And welcome to another edition of myStartUp.Live. I'm Kevin Allen, your host, and today's show is an interesting one about philanthropy and giving. We have a guest here from Irvine. His name is Shawn Wehan.
Good to be with you, Kevin.
Shawn is with Givsum.
That's
now,
correct.
Tell me a quick summary of Givsum and what you guys are all about.
Yeah, I would say the best way to understand our platform is that it's a user-based philanthropic tool for an individual to go and to give to any charity in the U.S., to buy tickets to any charitable events, or to find volunteer opportunities upon which they can log their hours, sign up to volunteer, and just be a participating member of the community. You can do that all from a single platform, and it tracks it all, creates a philanthropic resume for an individual that they can share with others.
It's social amplification of your philanthropic, giving.
Yeah, one of the common comments that is made by a lot of people is they have this desire to go and give, but they don't know where to start. So an idea happened for us 4 years ago, which was how can we help more individuals get engaged with their community when they have that question? I want to do something. I want to be passionate about something in my community, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
And where can I go?
Not only that, but I think in my case too is there's so many different platforms that may have existed before. Each nonprofit would operate in a different way. That sometimes
Right.
it's jinky. You're trying to sign up, it doesn't work really well. So, that having consistency of the look and feel as well as the function that you're providing.
Yeah, I think what really happened for us is sometime around 2009 when Facebook really started taking off. I was doing a lot of philanthropy in the community, and I was asking myself, where's the philanthropic platform that's specifically for people that are doing philanthropy? Where can we go where a community could be created that wouldn't just be one-off platform where you go and make a donation, never go back to it. You go and you be a part of this GoFundMe campaign, but you never go back to that either.
Sure.
Where's a place where you could find a home and that you could go back to it over and over again? You could build a community there of people that are giving, and you would be inspired over and over again. And that's really what we sought out to do. And Facebook, as people were starting to use social media more and more and more, that question started burning in me. Like, how can we build something that is somewhat social, but creates a marketplace where people could find these opportunities, but it would have that social feel to it, where you'd be like, this is my home. This is where I'm going to do my philanthropy.
And people understand today, having a profile. You have profiles on LinkedIn, you have profiles throughout all your different social media properties, and now you have a profile on Givsum.
Yeah, and that's really the key. Can you build a philanthropic profile that is so attractive that you could be sharing it with a potential employer, with let's say a college application, or let's say somebody that you're trying to date on Tinder, right? Like, here's my philanthropic resume, profile, here's my Givsum score, here's all my business experience, but I have a lot of community experience as well.
Absolutely.
And we looked at that, we're like, why? People should be sharing that. That's the best part of us.
I love it.
That's the good part of us. And don't we want to highlight that?
And I went to this Creative Mornings. Creative Mornings is an organization that inspires people to be creative and sort of share stories, kind of like a TEDx, but for the creative side. And they have this guest speaker that talked about compassionate, and this is a little bracelet that says compassionate.
So cool.
On it. And her whole philosophy is we're changing compassion from into a verb. Compassionate.
Right.
Be compassionate.
It's something that you're doing, ongoing.
This is the point, is that you want to be able to share that. This bracelet is nothing more than that. It's saying that I was compassionate today. And your profile on Givsum allows you to say, hey, I have done my part in a way. I've started the plan.
Exactly. And part of the idea and a number of features that we're currently building is that you would get to the platform and you start thinking about everything that you've done in the past. Who are all the charities that I've supported over maybe the last 5 years? What were the hours that I volunteered? What were the events that I attended? And you start populating that. And then you start thinking about, what could I be doing next? What's the next thing that needs my attention? It could be an environmental cause that's in your local community. Maybe it's a homeless problem that's going on. Maybe it's a disaster. We have so many disasters that's happening in our country right now. And there's that desire to want to do something that's going to make an impact.
Right away, too.
And it's like, I want to do something now. But I want it to be populated on my profile now with the hope that others will see it and go, oh, that's rad. Shawn just did that. I'm totally going to do that now
They'll
too.
be inspired by it, and probably also the other organizations that are looking for active members of the philanthropic community can now look on your profile and find somebody and say, maybe this one we need to talk to this guy.
Exactly.
Because he's in our space, or this gal. They're in our space and we haven't even spoken to him.
Yeah. So this information, this data around what the user is doing and how they're creating their philanthropic profile
Hugely valuable.
starts to become valuable for each charity. Think about if you're a young charity and you have an upcoming event and you're looking at, hey, we need 20 volunteers, and you post it out there and people start coming to you, I want to volunteer, I want to volunteer. So many times you know nothing about that person.
Right.
Have they volunteered in the past? Are they excited about your particular cause? Or are they coming in green? You literally know nothing. And so if you can take that user data and you can share that with the charity, well, now they have such a broader perspective of your philanthropic history. They know who you are. And for high-end charities, they want the best volunteers, the top volunteers.
Absolutely, because there's so much at risk.
Absolutely. Think about it. If you have a A-list celebrity that's walking through the door and you've been assigned the registration desk, how are you going to present yourself? How are you going to approach this person? Are you going to be coming to them in a way that they're going to be excited to give more money to this particular cause? And so charities want to know that information.
Well, let's come back to the Givsum in a moment, but I want to hear more about you. Shawn, where'd you grow up? You grew up in this area?
Dana Point, Southern California, South Orange County, small little beach town, lots of surfing, lots of sailing. Typical kid growing up at a public school. And, like everybody else, dreams, hopes about what I wanted to be. When I went off to college, I thought I was going to be in radio broadcasting. I had this desire to work with lots of bands and very creative people.
And here we are, Hybrid Studios.
Here we are in a studio.
Recording some good content.
And what happened was I got into college, went to Seattle University, was involved in radio broadcasting, thought I was going to go out and work for a radio station in San Diego and LA, one of the big industry areas. And I had this dream where I woke up in the morning and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be 35 years old. I will have sold commercials on a radio station for 10 years. And what sort of impact did I make? And I had this fear that I could do the job, but it wasn't going to make a difference. And
enough of a difference.
Enough of a difference. I mean, certainly commercials are important and companies need to advertise themselves and bring in new business. But for me personally, I felt like these were not my particular skill set and gifts and talents that I could bring to a larger community. And I was inspired to do something different and took this major left turn, ended up in Mobile, Alabama. Imagine a kid from Southern California in the heart of the Deep South.
Now you got to explain what was in Mobile.
At Mobile, Alabama, I joined a group called Jesuit Volunteer Corps, and I did a year of volunteer work with children with mental illnesses.
Oh my God, that's
Which,
great.
if you can imagine, like kids with schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, anger disorders. I was in an African American community. I'm very much a guy not from that
Southern
community.
California surfer.
And here I am, absolutely falling in love with these kids and falling in love with working every day doing a task that was making a difference in people's lives. I got bit by the philanthropy bug. Yeah. And I came back to Dana Point, got hired as a youth minister, a youth pastor, and I said, you know what I want to do? I want to inspire more people to just go out and do philanthropy.
Sure.
Because when you do philanthropy, it just feels good.
It feels good.
You get this adrenaline rush from it. You're, you get done with the end of any sort of charity event, and I always have like a day or two where I'm on a high.
Sure.
And I'm like, what could I be doing that I could convince more people to be a part of that high, that real natural high that comes from using your gifts and talents of service of others? And that took me down a road of working with one charity after the next, trying to inspire as many people
developing
as I
your
could.
network as well at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about it, the people that are in the nonprofit space are the most inspired people out there. They got passionate about a mission and a vision. They got passionate about a cause. And they themselves said, I'm the one that can make a difference in this space. And if you get to work with those people on a daily basis, it's extraordinary. I mean, you yourself, by osmosis, you pick up on all of that.
It just effervesces into your soul.
And when I got to my early 30s, I was like, let's start a nonprofit that inspires as many young professionals as we possibly can, people in their 20s and 30s, that when they come out of college, they go do this over and over
Okay.
again. They get on boards of nonprofits. They got to get on committees of nonprofits, and they give back. And we have done that with an organization called Future Leaders of Our Community for the last 8 years.
And
worked
what's the
with
website for Future Leaders, just so we can...
We've worked with about 350 different charities in Orange County, San Diego, and Los Angeles. And
Flock.
Flock. It's been an extraordinary experience
like a
to
flock
do that.
of geese, a flock of
a flock of
charitable,
individuals doing good work.
inspired individuals.
Yeah, and incredible people that have also now been bit by the bug and are doing good work in the community. And it was in the course of that the entrepreneurial side of me just popped up.
You saw a need, and you saw a need in the space. It says, well, we have this organization. We have a need for tracking all of this volunteers that we have in our organization, the events we have, the tickets we're selling, and you didn't have a solution. There wasn't a solution at the time.
Correct. Yeah, and I think that's what happens to every entrepreneur is you're living your life, and somewhere along the way, you see a strong need, a strong problem, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm the solution. I can bring forth a solution to this. And you believe in it so much that you stop everything that you're doing in your life to pursue the solution.
Yeah.
And that's when you know that you've been bitten by the entrepreneurial bug, and man, you're on a ride.
You know, I don't like to put a surfing analogy, but to me, it's so appropriate. When you catch that wave, when you're in the curl of the wave, right? There's a moment where you can't turn back.
Right.
Right.
You're dropping in.
You're dropping in.
Yeah.
You have to. And that's the best and safest route, and I
Yeah.
think that's probably where you were at.
You're
You
fully
realized
committed.
that you were already in that.
You're fully committed.
You were already in the wave.
And there's two routes. Either you bail and get hammered, right? Get thrown into the washing machine.
Or you have the ride of your life.
Or you have the ride of your life. You get a deep, sick barrel, and you come flying out, hands in the air.
So,
and it's the best experience
so
you ever had in your life.
You had this need. You said, we got to start something that provides a solution in this case. And how did you find a team around you at that moment to say, let's start doing this today?
Yeah. Well, you have to, I think for most entrepreneurs, you go to your network. Who do I know that has these gifts and talents that could help us solve the problem? So I had met a gentleman who, actually, he was a kid. When I was doing youth ministry, he was 14 years old, and he, basically, when you're a young youth minister, you have all sorts of technical problems that you're trying to solve. You have a worship band, you have video, you have everything that's trying to bring together in a church to
The message.
bring a message to kids, and you need students with technical talent. And one of my initial team members that I thought of was a gentleman by the name of Dewey Bouchard. And I thought, hey, I've known this guy forever since he was 14. He's one of the most technically talented guys I know. He'd be a great guy to have on the team. And we had another friend who was a graphic designer. They knew somebody who was a back-end developer. And we needed somebody who had some business prowess, but also would be an attorney that could bring a lot of just knowledge to the table of the right way to steer this ship so that we don't head it off course and get into trouble.
Well, and trust is a really important factor in this particular space. So you're taking on a lot of responsibility for the organizations you represent. So trust is paramount.
Trust is huge. You want to go into business with people that, A, have talent, but B, you feel like you can journey with for a long time. Because it very much is a marriage. You sign a contract and you're going to dream big together. And you want to dream big with people that you believe can go the long haul, that you believe can really get there. And you don't know how long it's going to take. So you need people by your side that through thick and thin are going to stick together. And so there was 5 of us that created the initial business, the LLC. We took a photo together, the classic, champagne's in our hand. We're going down this route together. And, in so many ways, it's like getting on the scariest roller coaster ride that you have ever can imagine. And you start up that hill, that click, 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 click. And then you get to the top and you're like, here we go.
Yeah.
And it's, for us, it's been 4 years of highs and lows, ups and downs.
Well, I don't want to stop you
experience.
there, but I like that photo, and I think it's so simple, and it's such a simple act, but it really actually makes an impact. And I want to stop there because taking a moment to represent the team, to actually define the team with a photo really does motivate others. It's a simple act, but again, it says, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there at the very start, and I have been a part of this, and I believe in it, and I'm going to share it with others. I'm going to share it with my family. I'm going to show what I'm doing today.
I think documenting the whole experience is important. So you take that initial photo, then when you're in the living room, all of you hammering away at it, you take that photo.
Yeah.
Then when you make it to your first office, you take that photo. When you get your first customer, you take that photo. Because these are key milestones along the way that makes you recognize when you're in the heat of it, when you're exhausted, that you've actually done something over time. You know, you can always look back and say, we've actually made progress. When you're in the moment, you feel like, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get there?
Right.
2 years ahead, 5 years ahead to whatever mountaintop goal that you have. But you have to be able to look back, and the photos are important to make you realize, hey, we made it through that point.
Sure.
We made it through that point. We made
And
it
I'm
through
still
this
here.
point. And I'm still here. I'm still going. We're still together.
Sure.
You know, our team after 4 years is still together. That says a lot about the initial guys that
How
that
do you
linked arms.
maintain that communication and decision making amongst that team? Because obviously you have sort of some equal partners that are playing in. They're all weighing in on the decisions. What's your process?
Well, I'm a first-time entrepreneur. This is my first business, and we went in with everybody equal ownership, which really says you're giving everybody equal voice.
Right.
And 5 people, and I would argue fairly strong personalities, coming together to argue the best path. That's a challenge.
I'm sure.
And so, you know, that's, you know, over the course of 4 years, you have many debates. And you're always looking towards the North Star, which is what is the best thing for this business? What is the best strategy? How do we get to the next stage of our business? What do we need to do? And sometimes your opinion may not be the best idea.
Right.
Right? And so there's some humility that has to be brought into the room. And time again, when you're looking at each other, you're saying, you know, okay, I may not agree with this, but if the majority of the people in the room are on board with this, then we're going to move forward in
Well,
this
in a
direction.
way,
And that's tough.
In a way, as a co-founder, your role is to voice your
Absolutely.
opinion and your knowledge and provide your experience in every sort of action. But as a CEO, your decision is to keep that North Star.
Correct.
Always, the company always pointed
Correct.
towards that North Star.
Yeah. And I think there's something that happens over the course of a business where when you start off as just an initial 5 people or 2 people or, you know, a small team, there's a lot of collaborating. But at some moment along the path, it just starts to get bigger.
Right.
More people come in.
Decisions get more powerful.
Yeah, and I didn't start off as the CEO of the company. You know, my title initially was operations director. Nobody had a C-level title.
Right.
And at some point, as those numbers, you know, grow, somebody has to be the CEO. And in terms of our life cycle of our business, it was clear that that was going to be my role. Well, now when you're the CEO, you start looking at decisions differently. You start listening to mentors. You start listening to your board members, your investors. You start listening to other people. And the 5 initial people at the table, their voices are taken into consideration. But as the CEO, you're representing lots of other people, customers, users, people who have given you their hard-earned money. And they're asking you to make the most appropriate decision, business decision, based on everything that you are seeing in the environment.
Yeah.
So it's a different ball game once you become the CEO.
And to really give them what they need.
Yeah.
So,
And that's tough for the other team members because their voice is still important, but they're having to trust the CEO to make the best decision based on all the knowledge
and
that
respect
they
the
have.
fact that you're in that position where it's a difficult
Right.
decision to make.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pull up. I want to see what you have at the moment. I mean, clearly this is, we talked about the process. So 4 years ago was the ideation. 2 years ago, you moved into the Irvine Cove, the Cove space, the
So,
Wayfinder
well, this
program.
last year actually. So a year ago, this month, we were given the opportunity to move into UCI's Applied Innovation Center, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It is one of the most extraordinary things that is happening in Orange County. I want your viewers to know that. Like, I'm a
Absolutely.
huge fan. UCI partnered with some investors. They built the Applied Innovation Center, and they invite in teams startup teams that have some connection with the university. So one of our original 5 is an alumni. Robert Kolar is an alumni of UCI. And that was our ticket into the Cove through their incubation program.
Of course.
Their Wayfinder program.
So it's an incubator, accelerator, resource center.
You get in there. It's an
investor
extraordinary
platform.
space. You open workspace, but you're there with other investors, what they call experts in residence. You have pitch rooms and a big open presentation room. And
there's events going on
and
every week,
there's
too.
events constantly so that you can learn more about how to go through all the stages of a business. But more than anything, when you're in a space with 40 other entrepreneurs that are trying to bring a new idea to the marketplace, man, you're inspired every day.
You're motivated.
You have the most extraordinary people that are innovative, and you're around that. And so that's where we've been for the last year. And in the course of that, we've been in conversation with the university to really build out an engagement platform that works for them. So let me give a quick tour of it if I can.
Please. So this is Givsum, and it's available on Givsum.com,
GIVSUM.com. So that stands for your giving summary, right? We talked about one platform where you have a philanthropic profile, and you can see everything you've been doing.
So right away we see donate to disaster relief right off the bat.
You can donate to any charity that right now is doing something to address the disasters in Florida, Texas, and Mexico. On the left side, you can see that I have a Givsum score of 100. Okay. Now, this is if you have anywhere between 100 and 150, you're doing a good amount of philanthropy. So it's a gamification that's built into our platform.
Okay. How does that, is that an algorithm calculated by hours?
It's calculated the number of hours, how many donations, how often you give donations,
frequency,
events that you attend, how many hours that you're logging for various different charities.
I love it.
People that are being inspired by your actions. It all contributes to your score.
Okay.
I've given $1,200 on the platform and 150 hours that I've volunteered, that I've logged, that charities have confirmed.
Right.
In the middle, there's
an interaction between you and the charity in terms of before that number goes up there. There's a verification that's taken place.
Yeah. In fact, I'll show you real quick. If I happen to be a volunteer of this Fall Fest, I can quickly go in and log my volunteer hours. Okay. Here, hit hours, put in a date, the hours, and then maybe some notes, and I hit log. And then that's going to go to the charity. They're going to get notified that I've logged those hours.
And they just confirm it,
and
saying,
they'll
I know who
confirm
Shawn is, he was there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that quick. These are opportunities that are presented to me because of my behavior. So there's an algorithm built in that's like, hey, Shawn really likes Make-A-Wish. He's donated them before. We're going to present opportunities to him.
Or he likes only organizations that are in this regional area, or that, or are in this theme.
He lives in Orange County, so we're going to present him Orange County opportunities.
Okay.
Now, everybody wants things to be quick, so I decide I'm going to donate to this Fall Fest. It's going to immediately grab my credit card,
which is stored in the platform.
Stored on the platform, and then I hit donate. It's that quick.
Easy enough.
Super quick. Same with tickets. Let's say that I want to attend this event, get tickets. I'm going to grab my different number of tickets, and bam, I make the purchase.
Are you taking, and not to say because obviously you're a profitable entity, are you taking a cut of each of these donations, or is it paid by the organization to be on the platform? How does that structure work?
So our business model is based on a percentage of the donations and the tickets that are purchased. It's 100% free for a charity to go on the platform and to post opportunities, to find volunteers, to manage those volunteers, to bring in donations. But if they bring in a donation, we're going to take a 1% cut of that. And that's our fee for the platform.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Now, we use a payment processing company called Braintree, which is owned by PayPal. They're going to take their cut, which is 2.9% plus 30 cents. We take 1% on top of that.
Okay.
But let me show you something real quick, which is fascinating to see. Because it's a user-based philanthropic platform, we put it on the user for them to pay. So if I make a donation to Make-A-Wish, says I wish to donate an extra 5/18 on Make-A-Wish receives $120 after fees. We want users to know that making online donations costs money.
Of course.
Credit cards are taking their cut.
Right.
Platforms are taking their cut. And if you're going to give a donation to a charity, why not cover those fees?
Right.
And what we've discovered is about 95% of our donors, users of the platform, cover the fees. Because it feels awful to, unclick that button and say, let's put it on the charity. Right? Because really, digital engagement with philanthropy, that's a service that's being provided to you as the donor. So why not cover those fees?
Not only the portal, but the processing and everything else.
Right.
Awesome.
So what that does for us is it allows the user to say, I'll cover the fees. Now, what we do for the users, we put all their contributions in one spot, right? So, hey, I made this donation to Generation for Freedom. My receipt is here. I can see it. EIN number's here. And in fact, all my receipts of all my donations are in one place.
Wow.
And I can print out reports. So here's my 2015 donation report. I gave it $122
And you could use that
year.
for your taxes.
You download it and you hand it in with your taxes.
Easy enough.
Done and done. All the charities you donate to, again, their EIN numbers. It's all in one place.
But I understood also that you have the ability to track a whole organization's giving with respect to some of their employees. So if an organization itself is participating, but they have multiple employees that have individual profiles, you can sum up some of that too.
Yeah, so we're in the process of building that for businesses where a business maybe wants to engage with a certain type of philanthropy, and they want to see everything that their employees are doing at any given time. We want to know, hey, what's the total amount that we've donated as a business? What's the total amount we volunteered? Sure. That data is important. So we're building a whole portal for businesses to have that. But what we're focused on right now is UCI.
Okay.
Yeah. And what they want is the macro data, the individual user data at the top level, at the chancellor's level. So I don't know if we're still looking at the demo here, but I just want to show, Make-A-Wish, we're able to see all the different donations that they've received in over time from particular users, all the volunteer hours that they've received over time, and the events they have coming up, and who's engaged with them, right? So the university wants that data as well. They want to be able to say, here's all the donations, here's the tickets sold, here's the volunteer hours. We want that macro number so that we can say, this is our impact in the world.
Right.
Here's how our students, alumni, and faculty are making a difference.
Right.
Not only for now, but for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Well, how are they going to get that data? So you make it a user-based
platform. It's
platform.
such a powerful, data tool for an organization that has many, many constituents.
Correct.
Whether they're students or faculty or any other.
Correct. Now, this is my profile as it currently looks, where it's showing all my information, the types of charities, the categories upon which I'm volunteering, who I'm following in terms of what charities I'm excited about, and my feed. Now, not only can I see that about myself, but I can follow people. So if I want to know more about Christine or Jim or Andrea, I can click into Andrea and I can be inspired by what she's doing. So she gives to Mission Hospital and she gives to Fish for Life. But she wants her activity private. And every user on the platform can decide to be completely anonymous, where they just have their data, or they can share with people that are following them, or they can be completely public. Right. And they just want to inspire as many people as possible.
And
so
I imagine that for the public
platform.
stuff, there's a bit of shareability too. You can sort of share your activity
exactly
from the platform.
So everything that I'm doing, I can push out onto social media, be like, hey, I just attended this event, I logged these hours, I'm excited about this charity, and all that can be pushed out. Now there's one other thing that I want to show you, which is my favorite part. I run this charity called Flock, Future Leaders of Our Community, and with a quick click, I can click in to the back end. So our organization, we've brought in $21,000 of money donated, 340 volunteer hours, 75 total events we've ran on this platform. And I can manage all my events from here. If I want to know, hey, who are my current members right now? I can click into this and I can see who they are. If I want to know, hey, what money are we bringing in today into our platform? I can click on the ledger, and the ledger is going to show me, oh, we got $288 that we're going to receive tonight. People make a donation within 2 days. I'm able to get that money into our bank account so we can do our operations.
Incredible.
And all this information is extremely important for charities. The number one thing that it does for the smaller charities is it starts building auto-generated things like, who are my attendees, donors, followers, and volunteers.
So it makes
I don't have to do the data. I don't have to enter it.
It makes it easier for them to reach their participants and their volunteers, as well as communicate with them.
Correct.
As well.
So it becomes an all-in-one tool.
Man, so
it's
great.
Eventbrite, it's PayPal, it's Volunteer Match.
So
does everything
are there any competitors in the space? Do you have anyone that's really at your level at this moment?
So there are other competitors that are working on different aspects of all-in-one philanthropy, or working on focusing on a particular niche, like peer-to-peer fundraising, or a specific donation platform that operates on a charity's particular page. But the key to Givsum is that it's user-based. The user owns their philanthropy.
Right.
They go there, there's a community there, they can engage with one another and find opportunities that are in the marketplace of philanthropy.
How awesome is it to watch your score go up as you give more and more? I mean, you talked about that high.
Right.
I mean, to me, this is the best illustration, is you have that platform that says, look at all of what I've done.
Well, not only what I've done, but inspiring
others.
somebody else to do more. If somebody has a higher score than you want to make a donation. You want to compete with them a little bit. You know, that's our 21st century.
Gamifying giving. I love
Let's do it.
Well, Givsum, Givsum.com, Givsum. Shawn Wehan, you've been honestly an inspiration to me. I love your platform, love what it does for nonprofits out there. Want to wish you the best of success. Thanks for the shout out also to UCI. I think they've been really helpful to you in growing your business. Want to wish you the best of luck going forward too.
Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
so
for having
much.
me on board.
Shawn, and we'll see you
everybody.
next time on myStartUp.Live here on the Applebox Network.